if all goes well. All right, it says that we are live and hopefully there's not a lag here. There's sometimes a 20-second live, but okay. Hello, thank you for bearing with me and us with all of the technology difficulties. My name is Stephanie Martin, as you know, and I have a very patient guest with me, Vona Johnson. She is a master certified transformational life coach and has her company, Vona Johnson Coaching. And I'm going to just let her share about herself, her journey, you know, whatever she wants to share with you, how she got into coaching, who she serves, and all of that.
That sounds wonderful. First of all, thanks for having me today. I'm really excited to have this conversation. We got to visit a couple of weeks ago in my podcast, Longing for More, and that was such a joy. And I kind of have to laugh. Maybe it's my fault we had all these problems. Part of my whole mission is to bring peace back into people's lives. So hopefully my presence at least brought a little bit of that to you as we were going through all of these struggles this morning.
It sure did, because you were very grounded and calm, and I was very frantic. So it did. Thank you for that.
Good. You are welcome. That might be my gifting. I'm not sure. So anyway, yeah, it's really my pleasure to just help people figure out what their calling in life is. God has created every one of us for a purpose. And sometimes we're completely in alignment and all there and know what it is just like that. And other times we get out of whack or we get on the wrong path. We get distracted and not even realize what we're here for. And then life gets hard, and it's not supposed to be hard. We've talked about that before, about, you know, the flow versus force, which is your thing, and it's a real thing. And so my goal is to help people, like I said, live your more. God created us for so much more. We settle for things that must just make him sad sometimes.
That's so true. That's so true. And, you know, I'm sure you have seen so many people stuck, so many people living beneath their potential, settling for far less than what they've been created to really experience here on Earth. Not waiting for, you know, the transition into heaven. What are some of the things that you have found hold people back from living their more?
You know, there's a lot of things. I think sometimes they aren't grounded in who they are. They don't even know what is important to them anymore because they've gotten so busy and distracted with life that they're following somebody else's dream, or they're doing what they think they should do and not what makes them feel joyful. Sometimes, you know, they just get wrapped up in bad relationships and allow one little piece of their life really drag them down rather than being able to let go. So it's a constant process of letting go and then finding more things that really matter to us and incorporating that into our lives. You know, my thing is that, you know, we all have a purpose, and wherever we are right now, we're there for a reason. And so rather than stressing out and wishing we were somebody else, you know, ask that question: what am I here for? What lesson is there in this, where I'm at right now? Doesn't mean that it's forever, but, you know, it's an example is years ago, I left a really great job thinking I was going to another really great job. It turned out to be less than really great. Didn't take me very long to realize that it would have killed me to have to do that for the rest of my, you know, 20-year career. But I know that I was moved there for the sole purpose of making a really great friend, because like within a short time after we quit working together, because I only stayed there for literally 14 months, her husband got really sick and died. And I was one of those people that helped her walk through that. And that was the only reason I was there. And I
Mm.
didn't know it until after the fact. And I'm sure there were other things. I learned lots of things there. But my point is that let's find the good in where we are. God will move us to the next opportunity if we are aware of what those opportunities are and we're not afraid to take them, because that's another thing that really holds us back. We think we aren't worthy. We think we're not good enough. There's no way that he would expect me to do that. I mean, really? That's for somebody else. No, it's probably for you. If it's on your heart, it's probably for you.
Yes. And, I'm going through my own interesting transition where I've walked through a lot of these phases or stages with my journey of living out my purpose.
Mhm.
And I've seen letting go is a big thing. You always got to let something go when each new stage. And it's interesting because it doesn't, in my opinion and experience, it doesn't get easier. You just get used to it because you've done it before and you can do it again. So you've got the faith and the trust built within you, but it doesn't mean it's not painful to let go of certain things. Um, so for those that I love that you talked about how you transitioned to something that was like, you know, not as great as you thought it would be, but you found the deeper reason and the greater purpose of why you were there. Um, because some people sometimes feel led to let go of something they really, really love and cherish, like a beloved job or career, and feel as if God is shifting them or calling them into a place that was the farthest thing on their radar, the last thing they ever thought they would be called to do and go into. And that's a whole emotional struggle right there, because it's not necessarily a desire. It's something they just feel. It's like a faith exercise almost. I don't want to call it a faith exercise. It's like it's a almost like a deeper level of faith and trust of like, are you going to follow me when you don't have the desire or the longing? And are you going to trust me to go through this? And I think there's a level of maturity within that.
And that's interesting because, I often say that the desire is what God plants in us. And so it's interesting to think about that God would call us to something that we don't desire. And that's something where I would definitely coach somebody through the conversation about, is it something that you feel you have to do, and go into that kind of scenario with a lot of prayer and meditation, and make sure that it's not um, a different reason, that we're being called to that. But I agree with you. There are times when we absolutely are asked to give up something that we love. And I think a perfect example of that is when I completely transformed my life to become a life coach. I retired from a 30-year career and I loved what I did, but I had that nudge, that whisper in my ear that said, okay, it's time. We're gonna make a big change here. And I was so afraid. And I literally remember one day I agonized over it for, I don't know, months before I made the decision. And I remember my cousin looking at me and she said, are you gonna starve to death? And it was like, no, I'm not gonna starve to death. And I'll be honest, financially, this was a horrible move. Um, but I haven't
Yeah.
starved to death. And I love what I'm doing even now, even more than what I loved doing before. And it truly is my calling to help people find out what their calling is and be happy and focus on the things that really matter in life. Because honestly, the paycheck isn't always it. I fully believe with all of my heart that I will be rewarded for taking that leap of faith and making that step into an uncertain place in life. Um, but whatever that reward looks like, it doesn't really matter because the reward is inherent in the growth in my faith and my trust that I've gotten in the process.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So you were willing to let go of, that steady financial security, that predictable income that makes life, I don't want to say it makes life easier. There's elements of it as far as the predictability and that sense of security, but when you disconnect all the other things, the things that make your soul come alive or what makes your soul sing, um a paycheck ain't doing it for you.
Right. Right. Which is exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing, because there are so many people walking around, successful people, and they've got the right car in the garage, they've got the beautiful home, all of the titles, everything, and they're empty. They feel unfulfilled, and it's because they're missing out on the really important things that their soul, it really is longing for, and they maybe have just gotten so distracted they don't even realize it anymore.
Yes. And here I want to go back to the whole thing about how saying like they feel called to go into something that they don't feel like they have a desire for. Because I would with you would dig around and be like, are we sure it's not a have to or should or living somebody else's plan or expectation out? Or exploring what the dread is, because maybe they feel like they don't have the desire because it's unknown. Like, right,
Right.
nobody necessarily wants to forge ahead into a season of lack, right? Like letting go of their financial security and their steady income and all of that, right? So they have no desire for that.
Well, and our critter brain is going to do everything it can to keep us safe. That's what it's there for, is to make sure we're safe. And anytime we are called to step into an arena that we aren't familiar with, our critter brain's going to go, no, 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 we aren't supposed to go there. We got to stay right here, honey. Right? Right.
Exactly. Exactly. It tries to keep you safe. But what it does is it keeps you stuck. And so yeah, so for those that like, explore a little bit deeper, like where, because sometimes you got to look above, like what's the higher desire. So like from a biblical perspective, Christ did not want to die, right?
Pretty
He
sure.
did
Yeah.
not want to. It's very, very clear, the story of Gethsemane, which is one of the most beautiful examples of letting go. And he did not want to go through that. But the higher calling and the higher purpose was he wanted to ultimately fulfill the call in his life. And he knew the way to fulfill that was through the cross, right? So that's where I would kind of go from a spiritual perspective as well, of like, there may be things like that you don't want to give up, you don't want to, like there's all these things, right? And you're almost begging to get out of it, but like the higher purpose is, there is the desire, there is that longing, there is something that going through that will get you to deeper levels of your destiny or greater levels of your purpose, and it's another layer.
I
So
think very, very beautifully stated. I agree. Yes, absolutely. Thanks
yeah,
for
and you,
clarifying that.
yeah, it's difficult, and I think we start in different phases, right? I think our maturity and faith and trust kind of gets stronger and stronger on the journey. um I've experienced that, the letting go of things. I'm in a season of like feeling like I don't want to give up a lot of things and like go here. And I've been fighting and wrestling with it, but I know ultimately this is where I'm meant to go. And I need to go through this to get to there. Um, but it's that whole like inner angst, just like you've been through, right? So I'm going through it as well. Like I continue to go through it. I'm sure you continue to go through it and do the work. Um, and it honestly, I think, makes you an even more effective and impactful coach when you're constantly doing the work as well.
Right. I don't I think there's a huge misperception out there, and I actually just said this in a different conversation the other day. There's this perception that if you become a Christian and you follow Christ, life is just going to be this easy, smooth sailing journey, and it's not that way at all. I believe that God didn't say it was going to be easy. He said it would be worth it, and He will be
100,
there. Huh?
100%.
He will be with us the whole way, and we just have to put both feet in the boat with them and ride that storm out. And there are storms. There's technical problems. There's all kinds of challenges. And we just need to stay the course and trust that it'll all be okay. And the worst case scenario, if it isn't all okay, it'll be all okay.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Very well stated, very deep. Like it takes like that profound, you know, it will be. And the more I think you live out this journey, the more you realize that. I
Right.
realized that through my phase of writing The Messy Middle. There was a lot of things not okay.
Which is a beautiful book, by the way. I just, I was able to get that from your website, and I really appreciate it. What a gift that is to the world. So,
Yeah, thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So, Vona, how can people connect with you? Where can they find you? Because you do have such a peaceful presence, and a very beautiful gift that you give others. And I'm sure just even your calming demeanor and voice and your wisdom will be very, very calming to some people that are longing for that in their life.
Well, thank you. So everything funnels through my website, which is vonajohnson.com, and that's VONAJOHNSON with one N under Vona, vonajohnson.com. And you can access my, all my coaching programs are there. My podcast is there. And that's been really one of those things that I would have never. I mean, if somebody had told me 2 years ago that I was going to start a podcast, I'm sure I would have laughed out loud. I didn't even listen to them 2 years ago. But it's really been a gift for me. And I have people who really say just that they just appreciate listening because it does bring a calm to their lives. So my podcast is Longing for More. And of course, you can find that on any platform, or you can find a link on my website. I'm also on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Let's see. Facebook is Vona Johnson Coaching, Instagram is Vona Johnson Coaching, and LinkedIn is just Vona Johnson. So there aren't a lot of Vona Johnsons out there, so I'm not too hard to find under any platform.
Awesome. And go ahead.
I was going to say, and while you're there, I have a resource that I would like to offer everybody, if you don't mind. I have an ebook out there that's called The Top 4 Reasons You Feel Unfulfilled by Your Success. And you can get a link to that on my website at vonajohnson.com, or you can also just put in vonajohnson.com/unfulfilled to go straight to the landing page. So I would love it if you all would go out and download that, and all kinds of great ideas on how to just stay focused on the things that really matter in life.
Love it. Top 4 reasons you feel unfulfilled in your success. That's going to resonate with a lot of people that I serve, because I serve a lot of overachievers, high achievers that go, and there's still something missing. There's still something a little bit off. So I'm sure that's going to be very valuable to them. And again, your peaceful, grounded presence will probably a welcome gift for somebody that's very hyped up and energized. I'm more of the hyped up, energized person.
Which we all need.
I do go. I mean, I do. I'm not. I've learned, love and accept that about myself. My husband's very grounded and calm like you, so that there's that nice balance and to help each other out. So before leaving as well, I wanted to ask you, what is one piece of, I don't know, like powerful advice or for somebody that just isn't fulfilled? They thought that life would be different. They've worked very hard to get here, and they're exhausted and don't know what to do, where to go. What would you do?
Always get yourself in the Word. That's, to me, that's one of our biggest challenges in society today, is people are too busy to read scripture. And in fact, there's a whole contingency out there that believes that we don't really need the Bible anymore. We can just follow our intuition. But our intuition, if we aren't plugged in properly, can lead us astray. And I think there's a lot of prosperity gospel out there. There's a lot of Christian philosophies that aren't really consistent with the word. So always get back into the word will always be my advice.
Mm-hmm.
Get a
Very
devotion listened on. There's devotions out there if you want. There's apps out there. There's podcasts out there. Listen to Longing for More, for heaven's sakes.
Yes.
Go there.
Listen to Vona's podcast. That'll get you on the right path.
You can't go wrong.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and sharing how to connect with you. And I'll be sure to put those in a comment, all the links and stuff like that in a comment so they can more easily just grab it and find you. Thanks again.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun. I've enjoyed getting connected, and I'm glad that we didn't give up because this was a lot of fun.
It's persevering. It was. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.